Welcome to Pink Kink,
where we are ready to guide you through the wild and wonderful world of kink.
I'm Princess Rara.
And I'm Dara, the Electro Khaleesi.
Whether you are a baby kinkster, a seasoned pro, or just here for the entertainment, Pink Kink will help you level up your kink knowledge.
Join us as we share our own wild, sometimes awkward, but always entertaining experiences and spill the tea from our combined 30 plus years in the private and professional kink worlds.
So grab your favorite flogger or wand.
Thank you.
And buckle up. You'll learn, you'll laugh, and who knows, you might just spit out your coffee.
Let's get this kinky party started.
Want more Pink Kink in your life? Join our Patreon and get ready for a whole lot of kinky fun and exclusive perks.
As a patron, you'll unlock access to our private Discord server where you can connect with fellow kinksters and chat directly with us. You'll also score adorable Pink Kink stickers and enjoy a monthly behind-the-scenes podcast packed with juicy tidbits we don't share anywhere else. Plus, get sweet discounts at our Etsy shop, Pink Kink Boutique, and on our online classes at Pink Kink Institute.
But wait, there's more.
More?
Our impactful and electrifying Pink Kinksters get extras, such as bonus content and free digital downloads. Oh, and let's not forget, the Pink Standard of patrons will be recognized as producers on both the podcast and on our website, because we couldn't do this without you.
Pink Kink runs on the love and support of our amazing patrons, so join the party today. Visit us at patreon.com/pinkkinkpodcast or click on the link on pinkkinkpodcast.com.
Today's episode is produced by our electrifying Pink Kinksters. Thank you, Jay, Witcherman, Brianna Lynn, Daddy J, Claire, Naughty and Nice, Butte Pain, Manda Panda, Kat, Stefan, Shadow Phoenix, Christopher, Brian, Enchanted Sparrow, The Wombat, Impact Hazard, Twitch, The Midnight Girl, Sinful, J21, Daisy If You Do, AK Harley Chick, Serenity, Belle, Eric, Pumpkin Pie, S'more, Hacksaw, Devoted Knight, 3 a.m. Thoughts, Crash Override.
Spiper No Spifing. Barbie, Navigator Bard, Mr. Pillsbury, Peaches, Mighty Owl, Baby Squirrel, Lady in Lex, Chaos Monster, Jessa Lady, Jack, Ophelia, Lady to Kitten, Cydia Lemon, Ben, Noir, Freddie Queen, Princess Ree, Mississive, Elysium Rose, Avalia, Nora Morapora, Brix, Mistress Lycia, Wonder Chris, Chessie, Manders, and Swinging Amish.
All right, so this episode's off to a great start. Dara's like, oh, good, you're doing this episode, I can chill. And then remembered she actually still has to hit record. Because she almost forgot to do that part.
I still actually have to pay attention to what we're doing and watching the monitor and all that, so I can't actually just
at least hit record, please.
Whoopsies.
So it's my birthday episode, even though my birthday actually happened about 2-3 weeks ago.
According to the timey-wimeys.
Yeah. I mean, in real time, it hasn't happened yet.
We're recording so far in advance. We're like going, wait, when is this one coming out?
I'm actually kind of proud of ourselves for this.
This is legitimately over a month away.
So I love that.
Yeah.
I love that for us.
I'm so proud of us right now.
I am. So by the time this comes out, I will already have been to Smut Lovers and been back. And I'm very excited. As I tried to tell somebody this year, I have the honor of being the keynote speaker. I'm teaching 4 classes, and I am doing impact demo.
That's a lot.
At the dungeon.
That's a lot. That's a full fucking weekend.
Not to mention also vending.
Yeah.
For this weekend. But it's as they say, the labor of love. Because as you guys know, I'm
a hoe.
I'm a hoe for the podcast.
Oh, yes. There's a qualifier in there.
There's a qualifier there. But I mean, I love romance. I read it crazy. Like, I was just looking to give you guys an idea at this point, looking at my how many books I've read so far this year. I'm at over 250 books.
I just finished number 44.
Okay, but that's good because that's already more than you did last year, right?
Maybe? Yeah, no, my goal was 52, so 1 per week.
Yeah, so then you are way ahead if you're already.
Extremely ahead.
Yeah, according to my goal's 300, and right now they'll say I'll meet my goal by November.
I've only got 7, 8 more to go.
Mm-hmm.
Hey, yeah. Easy
peasy lemon squeezy.
But when I was trying to think of like, what can I talk about? What should I pick for my birthday episode? What would be good? I went like the ding, 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 ding light bulb moment. I said, oh, let's talk about how to turn romance fantasy, what you read about in the books, into real life kink.
Very appropriate for you.
Right? Because when I'm at Smut Lovers, I am teaching the authors how to write more realistic and authentic kink. But the reality is what they're writing is still very much going to be fantasy based. And it should be. I totally get it. Right? Like I would kill if any of the dungeons that Golden Angel writes about were real and that actually was what a dungeon looked like. But a lot of what they write about is just really, really hot on the page and sexy and exciting and so far removed from what actually happens. They really can't show what many think the boring but essential pieces are that make kink safe and fulfilling. And I get it, right? People are always worried that negotiations aren't sexy. They're kind of boring. And I can understand you want to try to hurry up and get to the scene itself. And in real life, people tend to rush negotiating because of that. But you don't see a lot of negotiating when it comes to kink in books. Some of the fantasy stuff that you will see, some of the ones that I kind of always try to tell authors, please don't write, but they do anyway, is there's like house submissives who, when you finish your scene, you leave your toys there and you and your partner go over to the aftercare area, and the house submissive cleans the area you played in, cleans your toys, and packs up your toy bag.
That would piss me off so much, because how are they going to know where all of my stuff goes in my bag?
Well, yes.
Because I have bags for specific items.
Yes. But that's what it is. They don't really talk about that. Like rope tops. Most rope tops I know will not even let their bottoms put their rope away. If they have a submissive who they've trained, or a bottom maybe that they've trained exactly how they want it, but every rope top I know has a very, very, very specific way that they want their rope stored.
Yeah. Like Daddy J is the only one that helps me put away my stuff, because he's the one who knows which bag goes with what item. Mm-hmm. Anybody else who tries to help and they're just going, where does this go? Where does this go? Where does this go? I'm like, shut up and let me do it. Like, thank you for helping, but go away.
Or you'll see there's a lot of, right? Like it almost always in any of the daddy books that I read, there's bratting, which there's never been negotiating when it comes to this bratting. And so I want to just kind of talk about what we see in the books, what might be considered hot and exciting, and then how you could actually do that and make it a little bit more real. So why is there this gap between fantasy and reality in books? Well, fiction is really about the pacing and the emotional payoff, not necessarily the logistics. And when you have scenes written in the book, it's almost always as if doms are mind readers. And Tara's like going, and they just know. And I have also found a lot of it, they're very one-dimensional. Like maybe the characters themselves as human beings are not one-dimensional, but from a kink standpoint, they're very one-dimensional, right? Like the daddy doms are always the same. They always have the same traits.
And it doesn't matter which author.
No.
It's like it's an archetype, and that's it. They don't deviate.
Mm-hmm. You've got like, so for instance, in Omegaverse, which is my newest addiction. The amount of Omegaverse that I'm reading right now is just insane. But in Omegaverse, right, your biology decides everything. You're attracted to somebody because of the biology. Once you bond, they can read your mind. The bonding bite. You can read their mind, feel their emotions.
I don't know what Omegaverse is.
Oh, let me explain. So in Omegaverse, you have your alphas, your omegas, and your betas. Your betas are regular people like us. Just normal, regular folk. Your alphas are traditionally going to be taller and stronger.
Is this all wolves or?
No.
Okay.
They have knots at the base of their penis.
Of course they do.
But of course. And I have discovered, thanks to our friend Vixen, I could get a dildo that has one because I've been so fucking curious. I just can't afford those. They're like $100. So if anybody wants to know what to get me for my birthday, get me
a pink dildo with a knot in it, please.
We're going to need a, what do you call that? Fundraiser
Yeah.
thingy.
And then omegas tend to be smaller, more delicate. They produce, when they are turned on by an alpha, they produce what they call slick, which just means tons and tons of lubrication. Okay. But you need that slick because it makes it easier for them to take the alpha penis with the knot. And usually when they take the knot, when you get knotted, you're stuck together till the knot deflates.
Like a fucking dog.
Mm-hmm. Pretty much. And omegas go into heat where they lose pretty much their whole entire focus is I just need to be fucked and knotted. And the alphas have to take care of them because an omega won't necessarily eat or drink or shower or do anything. They just want that fucking knot. Now, depending upon the author, heat could be quarterly, could be semi-annually, it could be monthly. Like every universe is different. And tend to be in omega verse, you tend to have packs because when an omega goes into heat and they need constant fucking, one alpha with one knot is not going to be sufficient.
Are omegas female only
or no?
Okay.
But traditionally they are.
Okay.
Like more omegas are female.
Okay.
But you can have an omega that's man.
Omelga.
They're still called omegas.
Okay.
And in some universes, the male omegas can get pregnant. Those are called mpreg, the genre. And then alphas are traditionally men, but can also be female. I actually read, this was really cool. I read one recently where there was a trans omega. It was a male beta, who's one of the regular folks, who was taking medications to turn them into an omega because, as they said, that's how they felt. There was like a great line, something about how when your body doesn't match your mind. So they were trans omega, and I thought that was so fucking cool.
I'm confused.
I know. Anyway, omega versus fun because it's white shoes, but they don't call it white shoes. But it's a lot of guys, a lot of dicks with nuts, and one woman. Anyway, so omega versus all cool and stuff and fine, but like in real life, we don't have knots. And while you might have lubrication, you don't have slick. You don't have the amount of lubrication that an omega does. Yeah, I'm just blowing your mind. And you definitely can't read anybody's mind. So yeah. In daddy books, you will have the sub gets punished immediately, right? They do something, they get punished. There's no negotiation. There was no, like the daddy just says, if you do that, you will be punished with a spanking. And there's no discussion.
There's always a spanking.
Always a spanking.
Like, get creative, please.
Well, sometimes there's corner time before the spanking or after the spanking.
I still want more creativity.
Right. I did run across a book where the little had been abused. And so spanking was off the table. And they did have to get more creative. And I love that and I appreciated that.
Excellent.
But the reality is, right, punishment needs to be pre-negotiated. It needs to be discussed.
Yeah.
Dar needs it to be more creative.
This little will not be taking a spanking.
It's never, it's interesting. It's always about punishment. It's never rewards.
Yeah. Where's my fucking sticker? Where's my fucking ice cream?
And as we've talked about, dynamics don't always have to be about punishment. Positive reinforcement is a thing.
Yeah.
And it works.
Like my sticker or
a sticker?
No, or a starburst.
Ooh.
That would absolutely work on me.
A starburst?
a starburst.
Not my first choice, but I do like starbursts. It
depends on the flavor.
It depends on the flavor.
It would be a bag of M&Ms sorted by color.
Peanut M&Ms.
Okay, and
preferably you actually forget buying me a bag of M&Ms. You specifically go to the M&M store and you buy me just the red or just the blue because those are the two best tasting flavors.
Or perhaps a bag of Reese's Pieces.
Not pieces.
Not pieces?
No, regular
I thought
Reese's.
Because like they'd be smaller and you could dole them. Okay, regular Reese's.
Something about the peanut butter to chocolate ratio is off on Reese's Pieces.
Okay.
It doesn't work for me.
Okay.
But
you could also just slap her with a spoonful of Nutella and peanut butter.
Do you know what my newest thing is?
Dipping the spoon into the
dates and peanut butter.
Ew, what?
Oh, so good.
Okay, I can't talk because I do carrots and peanut butter all the time.
So good. Dates and peanut butter is my new fixation.
I don't know
and dates are not cheap.
I don't know about that.
Because you buy the ones that the pit's already been taken out because it's easier?
Well, that's too close to prunes.
Oh, I don't mind prunes. I like prunes.
Okay.
Oh, God, we are so off topic. It's
As usual.
It's fine.
Yeah, you're welcome.
Right?
Because now it's my turn to fuck you
there
up.
you go. So the reality check in all of this is that trust takes time. It takes more than 5 pages to build the trust that should happen before impact scenes happen.
Unless your characters have been together for years, in which case, explain that, please.
That happens occasionally. You will occasionally run into what they call second chance romance, which is where you've got a couple that is married and their marriage is falling apart, or a couple that were married and got divorced but never got over loving each other, or a couple that had been dating and they broke up and now they come back together years later. All different things. But even that, if you think about it, you're still going to need to build trust up again.
Mm-hmm.
Consent is not telepathic.
It's not?
That's not.
Even in Omegaverse where they have telepathetics?
Telepathetics?
It's better in my head.
It's okay. Yeah. No. Listen, Omegaverse would be cool if it existed. I would totally be an Omega with a multiple. I just read one. I just read one really, really cool. It was a dating show. It was like a bachelorette reality dating show, which was very cool. But what was really cool is you got the point of view from a lot of the men that were involved.
Mm-hmm.
You didn't know who was going to be the hero. You did not know. Like, the whole point was she was going to pick a pack. Pick a pack.
Okay, see, I'd actually read that because that actually sounds interesting.
So pick a pack. And you don't know who she's going to pick for her pack. So, like, you get point of view of some of the
peppers involved.
No,
Oh,
you get the point of view involved of some of these alphas who end up getting rejected and sent home. So it was really cool. Anyway, I enjoyed it.
that actually does sound kind of neat.
It was. So yeah,
She's like licking her chops. She's like, that was so good.
it was so good. Now I'm reading one about. Anyway, sorry, that's
This
not the
entire
point.
episode has become what's Rara reading?
What is Rara read? What is she currently reading? What is she going to read? Yes. And even things like aftercare, right? Aftercare is so personal to each person. Yeah, right, that's would be personal.
It was better in your head, wasn't it?
Yes. It made total sense in my
My, how the turntables have turned. You didn't know that one? You haven't seen The Office, have you?
No.
Okay.
Okay, it's fine.
Shit.
That's like we had just recorded a very serious episode. We needed this.
Yeah, which we kept throwing off and going off into weird tangents.
That's what we do.
Mostly
folks.
because of
if
you.
If you are new to this, I would say I'm sorry, but that'd be a lie. This is what we're like all the time.
We can't keep our shit together.
No. Aftercare is personal, and yet I never see anybody discuss. I got it right this time. I never see people discuss, like, what do you want? Everybody seems the same thing: a blanket, a stuffy, if
And
they're
chocolate.
little, and chocolate. It's like, I need a little bit more.
I don't even read these books, and I knew that
Right.
one.
So, right? So just think about.
I'm sorry, but can there please, at least at some point, some romance author take into consideration that perhaps somebody should have an aftercare salami?
I think that'd be brilliant. So last night, as I'm
Oh,
coming
here
home
we go.
from dungeon at 2 a.m., every day when I come home from the dungeon late at night, I drive right past Silver Diner. Silver Diner has the most amazing pork sausages.
Uh-huh.
It is and they're open till 3 a.m.
Oh,
So
dear.
I could drive by them at 1:30, 2 in the morning, and I could stop. And I don't let myself because I'm by myself and I'm not always dressed
Mm-hmm.
in such a way that I want to go sit in a restaurant and eat. One of these days I'm going to break down and do it because those are really, God, it's going to sound so phallic. These are really thick, juicy, warm, delicious,
Salty,
sausages.
meaty.
And and at 2 in the morning because I don't have my aftercare
When you need
salami,
something
this is what I want.
meaty.
After a night at the dungeon.
Yeah, of course you do. I can understand that.
One
My
of these,
little is going chicken nuggies.
I used to do that too, but then I would feel sick the rest of the night.
They are kind
eating chicken nuggets and French fries from McDonald's at 2 a.m.
They've actually, the quality of the chicken nuggets has deteriorated a lot from McDonald's recently as well. And they're just not anywhere near as good.
And they're stingy with the sauce.
Yes.
For a 10-piece, you only get 2 sauces. I would like more.
Oh, I can have 2 sauces with a 10-piece.
No, because then what am I dipping the French fries in?
Good point.
That's all I'm saying.
See, I just bring them home and I make a mix.
Yeah. So let's talk about some of the things that I've into
nuggets.
greater detail about what I have mentioned as some of the issues with this fantasy versus reality. And let's start with the basic, the foundation. Scene negotiations. Books skip the negotiations, jumping straight into sex or play. Or even if they do discuss the negotiations, it is so like, we're going to do this. And then the bottom, I guess, could say no, but that never happens.
But they don't.
You don't. I mean, I will run across some that will say, like, what are your limits? And the limits are so basic. Like, there's maybe 3 limits.
No scat.
They don't even see, like, that doesn't even come up.
Like, that's not even a thing?
It's because I think the assumption is it's a limit for everybody, which just goes to show
not.
You haven't been out in the real kink world, because it's not. Or they don't discuss no urine because, again, they just assume that that's not going to happen.
What if you have in the Omegaverse a person whose limit is bodily fluids? How do they?
You can't. No Omega would have that.
Okay.
Or Alpha, because then it would not work. There's bodily. That's slick. Is all
That's what
over
I'm
the
saying.
place.
Every time you say that, I want to be sick.
Yeah. So you would not like it.
No.
Negotiation, the reality is it needs to occur before the scene, not during. That's the other thing. Last year I taught like the BDSM 101 for smut lovers. And one of my biggest pet peeves was the negotiation mid-scene. Because this happens, right? And I'm going to use gender-based here because that is predominantly what I read. There is definitely female-dominant, male-submissive books out there, just not a lot. Not nearly as many as the opposite.
Go, people. Get to stepping.
And I don't traditionally read male or female unless it's a trio.
See, I've been very into the female. I've been very into sapphic fantasy, romantasy recently.
Yeah.
So
I've read some where it's like 2 women and 1 man, or 1 woman, 2 men, and that's where I do it. Though I did recently read the Pucking Strong by Emily Rath, which is 2 men, and oh my God, best book ever. Loved this book.
I've heard a lot of good things about it.
It's phenomenal. One of my favorite things about it is that it is 2 people being in love. Like, the gender is not what the focus of the story on. And I actually appreciate that, because I feel like that's what all these books should be written about. They should be from the standpoint of it's 2 humans who fall in love, so that anybody can picture themselves in that situation.
See, and here I am thinking it would be so much more fun if they weren't human and they were like 2 vampires or 2 witches or 2 zombies.
I don't think I've ever seen 2 vampires falling in love. Usually it's a vampire and a human, because someone's got to suck. Someone's got to have the blood for the vampire to suck.
Okay.
But anyway, I digress. Shocking. A lot of times what you see is the female submissive will be on the spanking bench, and the male dominant will start off with 1 toy, and then she likes it, because this is usually when she's new. She likes it. So he's like, okay, so now we're going to move to this. Like, no, that needs to be discussed beforehand. You need to ideally lay out toys and go through them. Are these okay? And what I always recommend to people is any toys that somebody says are not okay, take those off the table and literally put them away, so that you don't accidentally grab them and use them.
I do that for demos all the time. Is there anything on this table that you don't want me to use? It's easy.
Right. And what I do, just in case, I think it's a little harder for you because your toys are more delicate, and mine are quite sturdy because they're meant to be hitting somebody. I literally will take them off the table.
Oh no,
and
I just move them.
I will take them off the table and put them underneath so that I don't accidentally grab them.
Nope, I just move them. But I've also if they say, no, I really like all of them, but I can't use all of my toys. And we're like, okay, so how about like a little around the world and we'll just do one or two of each sensation. In that case, I do sort of negotiate while playing. I will hold it to the person and be like, is this okay? Is this okay? This is what it feels like. Do you want this? No? Okay, I put it down. How about this one? So it is sort of negotiating while playing.
To me, that's not, because that's negotiating down. Because they've already agreed that they're going to try it.
Right.
And then you try it, they go, I don't like it, and you put it away. So that's how you should be doing it.
Okay.
That's where you're negotiating down. Remember, you can negotiate down, meaning you can try it and put it away if you don't like it. You're going to want to establish hard and soft limits. Actually fucking talk about it. Don't make assumptions. Please, dear God, don't make assumptions about limits. Just because you don't want to do something doesn't automatically mean your partner might not be interested in it. Right? Like one of the things, so I'm doing impact. I'm not going to assume in an impact scene that my hitting them with my hand is safe. That's part of the negotiation. These toys okay? Is my bare hand okay? So discussing all of that. And then agreeing on safe words or signals. Almost all of them either have red or some silly safe word. And if I'm offending somebody who's got a specific safe word, I would say I'm sorry, but I'm really not. This whole idea of having pineapple.
It's always pineapple.
No, I've seen one where it was avocado because she hates avocado. I
had a social safe word once with my first ex-husband that was onomatopoeia. If I said that, my social battery was out and we had to leave.
Right? But you need to, this should all be established beforehand before the scene ever starts. Right? As I said, negotiate down but not up. You can stop early if something feels wrong. You don't tend to see that. I very rarely see a submissive use a safe word, but they don't need them. They seem to be very happy with everything that's going on. There should be no surprises. No new toy should be introduced without a prior discussion. And no brand new type of play should be sprung on a partner. If it hasn't been discussed and agreed upon, don't do it. I don't care how much hotter you think the play is going to be. I don't care how safe you think it is to go further. If it wasn't discussed beforehand, don't include it. So we also talked about punishments. And there seems to be the fictional trope of punishments are spanking, corner time. There's more to punishments than just those two things. But punishments have to be
writing lines.
I've seen writing lines happen occasionally.
That's another one that seems
But usually they tend to be, they're never just one thing, right? Like if you do have somebody who is abused and doesn't want to do physical punishments, then writing lines tends to come up a lot. But you need to go through punishments and agree beforehand. What is punishable? What behavior? What counts as bratty misbehavior? Then you need to talk about what punishments are acceptable. I don't think I've ever read, and as you can tell by how many books I've read just this year, how many I've read in my lifetime, I don't think I've ever seen one where it was discussed, okay, this is what I like to do for a punishment. Is that okay? Now, I have no problem with a dominant saying to their partner, I like to do spanking as punishment. But now the partner should be saying, okay, I consent to that, or no, I don't. I don't need the dominant to say to the submissive, what do you like for a punishment? Right? I mean, you can. You can say what's effective with you, but it's also okay to say this is my preferred method of punishment. And then they have the right to say yes or no. You need to sit down and discuss, is it a quote unquote real corrective punishment or is it a playful punishment? What's happening here? And you might have different rules, like spanking for a punishment is acceptable. Spanking as a real corrective punishment is not. And all of that needs to be. The bratting. Oh, somebody who teaches ethical bratting, the bratting in books drives me nuts. In the books, it's constantly, the amount of times the dominant will say, don't be a brat. Don't top from the bottom. When neither one of those is happening. The submissive's just being silly and goofy and playful, especially if they're little, right? I don't even consider a lot of what littles do as bratting. That's just being little. If you spend any time around children, it's what they do.
Or littles.
I would not call that necessarily bratting.
But in the books, they're showing all this bratty, this quote unquote bratty behavior, and immediately they're punished or they're threatened with punishment. In real life, bratting needs to be negotiated play. It's not necessarily genuine defiance. It's playful resistance, or it's being sassy, or in my case, sarcastic.
So just to throw out an example, my silliness is to bite. So if I look at daddy and I go, nyang, 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 that's me being silly. Or if he says, do you want this? And I look at him and I go, that's not bratting.
Exactly.
To me. That's littling.
Mm-hmm.
There's a difference. If he says, what do you want for dinner? Because he's ordering something and I go, food.
You're just being a goof.
That's
a little goof.
Stupid fucking answer. And it's my signal to him of, I don't want to fucking make this decision. I'm in little mode. You do it. That's not bratting.
Right. And you shouldn't be punished for that.
I don't. He thinks it's funny. But I'm saying a person who does not normally deal with littles might think that trying to bite you, saying, or, I don't want to make this choice right now, whatever, giving a stupid answer like that is not bratting. That's not. That's just being little.
The next section is safety concerns. Ooh, I've seen some doozies in my time. There was a book I read. This one still haunts me to this day.
Oh, Jesus. All right.
And this one was a sapphic romance. So yes, I do read them occasionally. It was the dominant tied up the submissive in rope, not suspended, but tied up, I think on St. Andrew's Cross or just to hooks on the wall, and did a scene where they painted them with body paint to make artwork. Because if I remember correctly, I don't remember all the details. I just remember what the fuck happened. This particular submissive had some issues and couldn't really do paint play or some of the other standards. And this is what they came up with. They turned the submissive into artwork. Well, understandably, the dominant wanted a picture of this for memory so that the submissive could see because it was on their back. Now, they were at a dungeon where they were in a private room. The dominant turned to the submissive and said, I will be right back, and walked out of the room because they knew that the rules of the dungeon were no pictures unless the dungeon monitor is there, similar to what we have at Crucible. And they left the submissive alone in a room, tied up.
Ooh.
To go get, and the dungeon monitor, they had to go down a hallway, find the dungeon monitor, who then had to call the owner, get permission, and then come back. The scream I scrummed reading this section was so fucking angry.
Scrummed.
It was, I mean, do not leave your partner alone, ever, let alone tied up and alone.
Gives a whole new meaning to don't leave them hanging.
Oh, good one. Good one. I mean, I had that happen to me in real life with Voldemort, and notice we're not together anymore.
Well, you also had the one person who did it at the Crucible, and you
Yeah, I had that with the
twitchied.
Well, it wasn't rope, it was needles. They left they left their bottom with needles in them to go get their spouse to come look at what they had done. Not okay. Never, ever, 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 ever leave them alone. So my friend Natalie from Trigger Warning, this is one of her favorite things that makes her nuts. Anal play when there's no lube.
Who fucking came up with that shit, and why is that a thing?
Should never be a thing.
That's assault.
And I'm telling you now, folks, if you are
and
somebody...
spit is not lube.
No. If you are somebody who's either A, a virgin, or B, an anal virgin, double penetration is not what you should be doing the first time. Because let's also remember, dicks in romance novels are not small. In the case of two men, inevitably one will be thicker, girthier, one will be longer, because that way nobody gets insulted. You got two big dicks. Having one in the butt and one in the pussy at the same time for a virgin or somebody who's never had anal sex before, don't do it. I'm telling you now, there will be regrets. And you can do real damage to the anus if you are not careful. So prep, lube.
I'm going to say it again. Spit is not lube.
It is not. I've seen dangerous implements use. This is the other thing. Like, people in books seem to be experts in several different things. Or they go to the dungeon and they have people who can do different things. Like, this is, as I said, not only is it that people don't pack up and clean your toys for you and the space and then bring you your bag. Most dungeons will not let you store your bag somewhere and then bring it to you when you're ready to play. I've read books where submissive wants to do, let's say, a needle scene, and the dominant's really new at this. So an expert comes over and stands by you and helps you out. That doesn't come as a service of the dungeon. That's something you have to pre-plan, talk to your quote unquote expert, and do that. There's not enough check-ins and safe word discussions. Like, it'll happen once. There's a safe word at the beginning. They'll talk about a safe word at the beginning. You need to remember that, right? So you're never leaving somebody unattended. Lube is non-negotiable for anal play, and it's not spit. Skill and practice needs to come before you do the intense play, and make sure that you are taking care of safe words and check-ins, the discussion, and all of that. You want to make sure things like, just like I've seen where there's intense spanking sensations and nobody's checked in to make sure. And somehow they go straight to the hard and they don't really warm up properly. Let's talk about another pet peeve of mine, subspace. In the books, subspace is exaggerated so much. There's trembling, there's sobbing, there's collapsing, there's like zoning out. What's that face for?
I'm picturing it.
There's zoning out where they come to and they're in the aftercare area. They go completely
That's going
nonverbal.
unconscious. That's not zoning out.
Right? It's portrayed as this mystical, magical, otherworldly place. First of all, here's the reality of subspace. Not everybody goes into it. Even those who go into it don't go into it every time, every scene. It doesn't happen within the first 5 minutes of the scene. And it differs widely from person to person. One person's subspace is not going to look like another person's subspace. Subspace can be a very powerful thing, but it doesn't, and it shouldn't make you unconscious.
Can tell you from personal experience, going unconscious in the middle of a scene is not pleasant.
It's not subspace.
No, that's medical.
And it needs to be discussed what happens in subspace. Are you going to continue with the scene if somebody's in subspace? Are you not going to continue with the scene? Is that going to be once they have entered subspace, and let's say do go nonverbal, that's the sign to start cooling down and ending the scene? Because if they're nonverbal, they can't necessarily consent anymore. So maybe that's not the time to continue checking. And it's just, I worry because I read a lot. I'm in Facebook groups for readers. And I see a lot of times they're like, oh, I would love to have that happen in a scene. I would love to reach. And they have this expectation going into the scene that this is going to happen. And I just want to tell you the reality of it may happen, but it also may not. And there's so much that goes into it. I've seen people ask, well, what can I do to help me get into subspace? I don't know. Because again, everybody's different, right? And that's something that instead of asking me what can help you, start taking notes. Keep a journal of when you go into subspace and when you don't, and start to identify, oh, these things happened on the times I went into subspace. So maybe if I can recreate these things, it can happen again. Maybe it was the music. Maybe it was being on a spanking bench. Because I tell people, I always am amazed when people are on a St. Andrew's cross that they go into subspace. Because I find I cannot relax if I'm on a St. Andrew's cross because I got to remember to stand. And I'm worried about falling over. While if I'm on a spanking bench, I can let loose a little bit more. I don't have to worry that I'm going to fall over. But my subspace doesn't look spacey. My subspace is I get the giggles and I get hyperactive. And I can assure you, if I have gone nonverbal, I am dead or asleep. But I'm not in subspace.
Yeah, we know. Unless it's rope.
I'm not nonverbal. That's a choice. I'm meditative. So I could talk, but I'm choosing not to.
Only time you choose not to.
Only time. I know. It's awful. Let's talk about honorifics, because that's another one where what's on the pages is so far removed from reality.
Yeah, nobody has a potato.
No, you're right. That would be considered bratting, and they'd get in trouble for it.
Oh, well, I should just be getting in trouble a lot.
But in books, submissives instantly calling everybody master or sir.
Nope.
Or ma'am or madam or whatever for the gender, right? You don't see a lot of non-binary folks. I will say that is one of the things the Rawhide Ranch over the last year has really made an effort to bring in authors who are writing a more diverse cast of characters. And we are running into more neurodivergent characters, aromantic characters, asexual characters. Though I do have a bone to pick with the writing of an asexual character who managed to, like, I'm sorry, not asexual, demisexual. This was a demisexual character. Now, if you know what demisexual means, it means it takes a lot and a long time to get to the point of being sexually interested in someone. You need to get to know them very well. You need to learn to trust them. And eventually, the sexual, what's the word I'm looking for? Chemistry, attraction. That's what I'm looking for. Sexual attraction will occur. I was so excited they were announcing they had a demisexual character. I think it took 2 chapters for the sexual attraction to occur. It was too fast. That's not what a demisexual truly is. But I love the idea that they're finally showing more inclusive. They did have a non-binary character that was awesome. Different things.
I've actually read several books recently where the main character is POC, neurodivergent, and in their 30s. That's like never happened before in the history of fantasy. I know it's a completely separate genre, but like books as a whole are moving. And it's awesome.
But so submissives are instantly calling people with honorifics. That's not how it works.
That's
right?
not how any of this works.
Like last night, I had somebody ask me, did I want them to call me Princess Rara or Princess? And my answer to them was, whatever you're comfortable with. I'll answer to Rara. I'll answer to Princess Rara. Whatever you're comfortable with.
What'd they call you?
They ended up calling me Rara.
Okay.
Which I was like, fine. I did have somebody very sweetly was like, is it okay if I call you Princess? I want to call you by the honorific. I said, if that's what you want, that's fine with me. I don't need it, but if that's what makes you happy, I'm okay with it, right? I would only expect my own submissive to always call me by an honorific. Honorifics are meant to be earned. They reflect real authority and respect, and by just handing them out and calling anybody and everybody master, ma'am, sir, whatever, it dilutes the meaning for me. And especially, too, because occasionally they will write a bad apple, who's obviously not the main character. It's a side character, and they'll get in trouble and kicked out of the dungeon or ostracized or whatever. And yet you've all been calling them master, and they're bad apples. And that makes me sad. So don't go into dungeons or munches and think you're going to be calling everybody by an honorific. Now, in Omegaverse, they do. Once they're involved with somebody, they call them Alpha or Omega, and that's a turn on to them. I don't know why. But so now let's talk about putting it all together. You've read something that has turned you on, and now you want to bring it home. So first ask yourself, what about the scene excited you? Was it the action, the spanking, the bondage? Was it the emotion, being cared for, being overpowered? Was it the dynamic itself, daddy little, dom submissive, alpha omega, right? And then write down kind of one word that sums up what aroused you about this. Was ownership, safety, naughtiness. Now look at the scene like a recipe. What elements are there? What are the ingredients? Toy, setting, dynamic, emotional tone. And then the method. How do the characters move from the start to the climax to the aftercare? And then sit down and do a reality check. Are all the quote unquote ingredients safe and available to you? Right? Maybe the setting was a dungeon or a spanking bench and you don't actually have that. So identify all this. And then figure out what ingredients are missing. Negotiation, lube, safe words, preparation. So you've got all that. Now translate this to real world language. Fiction thrives on silence and intuition, but real life thrives on communication. when you're talking to your partner about including this, start off with, I read this scene where this happened, and what I liked about it was this. And then you can ask your partner, how would you feel about trying a version of this? Share what parts of this are negotiable versus non-negotiable. And then start to negotiate the scene. So apply the rules of all toys are discussed ahead of time. No introducing new implements mid-scene. Negotiating down, not up, once you're in the scene. And what punishments and or brat responses are agreed upon before the play. Right? So like in one book, a sub got spanked for interrupting a dom.
See, again, that would irritate the shit out of me because I'm so ADHD. I do that to everybody,
right?
regardless.
And I'm a New York Jew. It's what we do. So in real life, say to your partner, if I brat, and if I interrupt you, one, is that considered bratting? If that's considered bratting because it's a habit you're trying to stop me from, right? Like what could be the punishment? Is spanking okay? How many swats? Is it public? Is it private? Right? Go over all of this. And then make sure you're building a safety net. Make sure you are negotiating safe words and signals, right? Because if you're introducing gags or you're worried about necessarily going nonverbal, make sure you've got signals like tapping of the leg, or one of my favorites is you're holding a ball that you can either squeak or drop. Dog toys are great for this. Make sure you've sat down beforehand and decided what each of you need for aftercare. Remember, aftercare isn't necessarily just for the submissive. The dominant also. And notice I keep saying dominant, submissive. That's because these are the way the books are written. Very rarely do you have a top bottom without a DS in it. So make sure everybody knows what they need and be prepared. Make sure you have emergency preparation. Do you have a first aid kit? Do you have lube? I know we're harping on this, but please use fucking lube.
Use lube.
Right? Reality, I'm sorry, is just less glamorous than what you read about in the books.
Oh, also, if you're doing an electro scene, which I know they don't rarely ever have in books, but aloe, unless they're allergic to aloe, in which case don't use aloe, but aloe is really good.
There's 2 series that I've read that does include electro.
I've read one.
One is the Blacklight series, and that one, I love the concept of this, and I wanted to try to throw a party to do it. They have specifically roulette twice a year, where you agree. They use a roulette board to match up a dom and a sub, and then you have a certain amount of time, and you do a roulette wheel, which tells you what scene you're going to do. Now, beforehand, hard limits have been discussed, what you will and will not do. So if the roulette ball lands on a hard limit, you spin again. But let's say it lands on electro. And now you have 30 to 45 minutes to do an electro scene. And then you come back and you spin the wheel again. I wanted to try to turn that into a party.
That actually sounds like a lot of fun.
But my concern was like, I can do a couple things, but I can't do all the things. And you can't do all the things. And so it's like in the books, everybody can do all the things. It's amazing. The reality is most doms only do about, let's say, at most 3 or 4 things. They do not do all the things. But it's a fun book to read. And then I forgot what the other book is. I can picture the covers. But yeah, they have a couple whose specialty is electro. And they did a demo one night for the whole dungeon where they did an electro scene in front of everybody. It was really cool. Anyway, back to, so now you've done your play. You've acted out this, whatever scene you wanted to do. Now debrief, right? Check in. What worked? What didn't work? Validate everybody's feelings. If somebody says it didn't work, I didn't like it, it didn't feel right, validate that. That's okay. And it's fair to feel that way. And now you can adjust for that next time. It happens. It's not always going to go as expected. But sitting down and debriefing and working through that is going to strengthen the bond between you and your partner. Decide what's going to stay on the page. Really, it's okay to leave some of the fantasies in the world of fiction and understand it's not going to happen. There's not going to be an alpha with a knot at the end of his penis. And there's not going to be an omega with slick.
Okay. However, you can get some very slick-like lube that exists.
I read a book though where they did too much lube. It was a problem.
Okay, I'm just saying there is it's supposed to mimic semen, I think.
Ooh, interesting.
Yeah, so like it's a very, it kind of reminds me of what slick would be. And then you can get a dildo with a knot.
And I do want one.
You could actually role play this scenario. You just got to look for stuff exists. I mean, fucking come on. You can get fucked with an octopus tentacle.
That's true. You can get a dildo that looks like
yes.
That. But remember, some of this could also be you're just talking through it. Like, right? When you do with Daddy J, like your breeding fantasy, you're not actually breeding, but you're talking as if you're going to.
Oh, yeah. And it's his. And I talk a lot. So it works out really, really well.
Right? I mean, remember, there's unrealistic stamina. Maybe you can't be edged for 8 hours. It's just too much.
No!
Tara's like, nope, not happening.
I love being edged. Okay, that's not true. I could do 8 hours. I've done days.
I can't.
So
I will get angry.
It depends on the edging. If it's like being teased with a vibrator for 8 hours, hell the fuck no. But if it's, sexy talk and like, oh, I'm going to do this, and then we don't actually get down to, yeah, I've done that. I do that to myself, so that's not horrible.
Well, if you do it to yourself, that's one thing. And then afterwards, celebrate the inspiration. Highlight the positive, right? Romance books give us permission to imagine. They provide scripts for conversations and role plays, and they inspire creativity and fun, and hopefully some deeply emotional scenes. Fiction, it's going to be a spark, these books, not a step-by-step manual. So please don't read these romance novels thinking it's a step-by-step manual. The amount of times I've had to mention to people that, because as I said, they're writing in these books, oh, I wish I could do a scene like that. And I'm like, yeah, that's not going to work. But I kind of encourage you to find, maybe pick a book this week with a scene, dissect it, and see if you could bring it to life. And let me know about it, because I'm curious how that works for you, right? Did this help you? Did this episode inspire you to maybe take some of this stuff? Because I want to know. Inquiring minds want to know. So some of the authors that I recommend you read, right? I mean, I always recommend Golden Angel and her books. Granted, I'm a little biased because as a beta reader, I ensure that her BDSM is authentic.
And I just want to point out, you're welcome for that. Once again, you would not have been there. Well, you probably would have, but I started that shit. So I'm actually pretty proud of myself.
If you want some daddy stuff, my friend Stella Moore writes some good daddy stuff. I don't recommend, she's got an alter ego, easy for me to say, Sadie Minx, but that's dark romance and it involves things like non-consent, not just C and C. There's just no consent. So I don't recommend using those books of hers unless just as fun.
Not a blueprint, people.
But she does have Under the Stella Moore thing. Oh, did I tell you? So Stella's the one who doesn't like cows.
Oh, yeah, you told me.
She does not like cows. And we all gave her such grief about it that she wrote a Who Cow story, which I love. That's one of the ones I would love to hear if somebody takes a Who Cow story and turns that into a fantasy scene, because that's one of my fantasies.
Well, why don't you do it?
Because I don't even do it with. That's not.
Come on. Really? You don't know who you could do a Who Cow scene with?
I have to think about it. I'm very picky.
Well, it depends on what the scene is, but Cindy has a Who Cow
costume, but I want to be the cow.
Okay.
I want the one whose breasts are being manipulated and the nipples sucked on.
Well, maybe you
watch
can
people
Cindy's
going to
costume.
listen, and now all of a sudden I'm going to. Yeah, Cindy's like 10 feet taller than me. I don't think I could wear her costume. She's 10 feet taller and does not have the boobs I have, so it's okay. But yeah, so I'm bringing my cow flogger to Smut Lovers, and I will be using the cow flogger on Stella.
Volunteered, by the way. She volunteered to be hit with a cow flogger.
Well, I mean, it's more like, look what I got, Stella. How about I use this on you? And if she had said no, I would have said fine. She's like, and similar to me being a hoe for the podcast, she understands the PR that would get her, having being hit. So by the time this comes out, I will have done it already. We'll have to report back.
Yes, in future episodes. So, hey, people, listen to future episodes because there will be reporting on a person who does not like cows being hit with a cow flogger. There, got it.
I mean,
got it all out.
So that's wonderful. Sarah Blue is a new author that I've been reading her Omegaverse stuff, which I'm loving. Vixen read one of her BDSM books and highly recommended it, saying it has very authentic BDSM in it. So that's a good one. If you guys have recommendations for authors, I am pleasantly surprised by how many kinksters enjoy reading romance. I love it. As someone who's been reading it for years and kind of kept it on the DL because it wasn't well thought of. Now that romance is out and people are talking about it, I'm finding a lot of kinksters who read it. So send us your recommendations. Let us know. Report back on if you've incorporated this, and keep reading.
Always keep reading. Doesn't matter what it is. Doesn't have to be romance. Just keep reading.
Just keep reading. Just keep reading. Just keep reading.
Reading.
Thanks for hanging out with us today. If you enjoyed what you heard, make sure to subscribe so you don't miss a minute of our fun and educational content. New episodes drop every Friday.
If you love what we do and want to help us keep creating, support us on Patreon at patreon.com/pinkkinkpodcast. You can also support our affiliates to benefit small businesses and us at the same time.
No extra cash? No problem. You can still help by spreading the word about your favorite kinky podcast. Share us with your friends, and don't forget to rate and review us on Spotify, Apple Podcasts, or wherever you listen. Those 5-star reviews mean the world to us. And those 5-star reviews go a long way in boosting our podcast through the algorithm and reaching more listeners.
Sign up for our Pink Kink Institute classes. Shop at our Etsy shop, Pink Kink Boutique. Stay connected with us on social media. You'll find all the links on our link tree posted in the show notes.
Your support means the world to us. So until next time, stay pink
and level up your kink knowledge.